Well, today I always say that line, "Hey, it's a fun one," but it really is. We have someone back that I've had multiple people ask for one more time, and she's come back, which I really appreciate it. She played Miss Beadle on Little House on the Prairie, Charlotte Stewart. So, Charlotte, thanks for being here.
Oh, it's good to be here. Thank you. Thank you. It was
Oh
good
yeah,
to see you the other day at that event.
it was really fun to see you, by the way. It's always wonderful when I get a chance to, meet someone in person and, just I don't know. There's just something about that energy that's always wonderful. So
Yeah.
it was great. And you did a terrific job, by the way. I have to say, for anybody out there, I mean, normally don't do the big pitch here, but I will say, if you ever see that Charlotte's at any of the autograph shows or anything like that, she is a wonderful woman to meet, and she has a
Thank you.
wonderful setup, and she has some great items that any Little House fan would go nuts over. So,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
I try to give back as much as I can. It's
Yeah.
just it's so surprising that at this point, Little House on the Prairie is 50 years old. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm hardly that old.
Well, you look great, Charlotte. Come on. So, yeah, I agree with you. It is wild. It's just about to hit the 50-year mark. And so today, great segue, by the way. Today we basically the whole session will be on answering fan questions. These are all fan questions that were sent
Okay.
in to me for Charlotte specifically, and she doesn't know what they are. I'm just going to give them to her, and we'll go with it. Hopefully, you have
Okay.
answers, and if you don't, you don't.
I'm
It's okay.
game.
All right, here we go. Let's go with our first one. This is from Kelsey. Kelsey says, "What are your memories of the Troublemaker episode with the kid bullies and Richard Basehart? Do you have any memories of that?"
Oh, of course I do. In fact, I told that story to Michael Landon about my godmother, Pauline, who was a one-room school teacher in Mendocino, California. It's lumber company, the big redwoods, and
Uh-huh.
the boys in her schoolroom were these big kids that worked in the lumber industry. And one day they kept her locked in the schoolroom by throwing rocks at the door.
Oh,
And he said, "Wow, that's a good idea." And he wrote the episode about Miss Beadle not being able to handle the big boys and getting fired. So
oh,
that was a true
wow.
story. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, that's cool.
yeah.
Wow. So were you surprised that, I mean, did he come back to you and say, "By the way, I wanted you to know I actually incorporated it into the script"?
Well, he did. He wrote the script based on my story, so that was wonderful. And then he found the wonderful Richard Basehart
Hmm.
to replace me. As if anybody could replace Miss
That's
Beadle.
right. That's right. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
But then they realized that he was too stern a teacher, and
Hmm.
the same thing happened to my godmother. So it was a tribute to my godmother Pauline, and I was so proud of that. My mom would have been proud.
Oh, that's so cool. Did you get to know Richard Basehart at all?
You know what? I purposely did not meet him because I wanted to stay away from the story. So I saw him on the set, but I did not go over and introduce myself. I thought it might be disturbing for him replacing me, so I chose not to meet him. So
Wow.
that was an actor's choice.
Oh, most definitely that was an actor's choice. Yeah, you did him a service in essence too. You're right.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. He seemed like that. I mean, he definitely seemed like an actor's actor to me, but
Yeah.
who knows? Okay, fantastic. Wow, great question, Kelsey, to open us up on it. Here we go. The next one is from Eva, and we've probably talked a little bit about this in your first interview, but she wants to know, what are your favorite episodes?
Oh gosh, there were so many. I just watched one the other day. It was very early when the girls first come to school, and
Oh,
that was kind of fun. I loved that. Oh, little Laura and Mary. They were these children. I had never worked that much with in child actors.
hmm.
They were so 100% there. So I just loved any time I got to work, with Melissa Gilbert or Melissa Sue Anderson, and Alison Arngrim, who played Nellie. She was fantastic. But I think my favorite episode was toward the end of my time on Little House in the fourth season when she marries the pig farmer. And
Oh
as it
yeah.
turns out, Michael showed me 2 pictures of 2 actors and said, now, which one of these do you think Miss Beadle would marry? And what he didn't know was that I had gone to school with Josh. And
What?
so I said, oh, I think that one. And he hired Josh to play my husband.
Oh my gosh.
And it was great. Yeah, it was
Did,
really fun.
had you been in touch with Josh?
No, no, he hadn't worked very much. And so I was very happy that he got the part, you know, and he came back in several episodes. So we got to do 2 or 3 because Miss Beadle had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then she, that's, I think in a time they didn't want the school teachers to be married. They wanted single women to be the teachers. So when she got married, she was replaced as a teacher. I think Michael Landon's daughter took over for a while, and then Ma became the teacher for a while. So
wow. How did you, so did you, I actually hadn't thought about that, but did you feel like when you got married, you had the baby, did you feel like, well, I guess I'm going to be leaving this story?
Well, I knew I was leaving because they told me when I auditioned that it was for 4 years only.
Wow.
So I knew that 4 years was the limit for Miss Beadle because it's based on a true story.
Right.
Almanzo Wilder's sister had to become the teacher. So Laura met Almanzo and Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I didn't realize that they stuck to it that well, that it was like, and 4 years is up. We're done. Okay. It's funny, I think there was another, I think it comes later. Let me look, but there was another question about Joshua. Let's see here. Let me just see if I see it. Oh, yeah. Did you have, how funny. This is crazy. Lindsay wrote, did you have anything to do with the casting of Joshua Bryant as your husband?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And, well, this is a good one. How did you get along when the cameras weren't shooting?
Oh, we were so happy to see each other. You know, I met Josh when I was 17. We both were at the Pasadena Playhouse, the State Theater of California. That's where I went to school. And because I wanted to be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were in the same class together. And then, of course, we stayed friends for, many, many years. But it wasn't until, gosh, we were in our 30s when this episode of Little House, came up. So we had known each other for a long time. And it just made me really happy.
Oh, yeah. Well, off camera, it must have been like old home week.
We had so much fun. There were lots of scenes where we were out in the meadow having a picnic. And there was one where, he portrayed he was a pig farmer, where I got to run around in the pig pen. I don't think that Miss Beadle would have done that, but it made for a funny part of the story. Yeah. We had a good time.
Very cool. Very cool. Did he know that you had a say in the final decision?
I think I did tell him. I think I did, but I didn't want anybody else to know it. And I don't think I ever told Michael Landon that that's why I picked Josh.
Wow.
The other actor that he showed me was more of a real character.
Mm-hmm.
Josh was very handsome.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Maybe he thought that's why I picked Josh, but I didn't want anybody to know that it was favoritism.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but you had a natural chemistry then too. I mean, that's the beauty of that.
We did. We had a good chemistry.
Wow.
Oh, and then a funny thing, I went up to the cameraman and I said, because Michael Landon was directing, and I said, when Michael says cut, don't cut. So at the very end of the scene, when Miss Beadle and Mr. Sims got married, and they say, you may now kiss the bride, we started kissing, and we kissed, and we kissed, and we kissed, and we kissed, and we kissed. And the cameraman kept shooting after Michael said cut. He just kept shooting, because I knew what they'd do. They'd use it for when they do the screenings and stuff, that they would get a kick out of it in the screenings.
Oh my gosh, that is hysterical. Did he get a kick out of it? Did Michael Landon?
I think so. Yeah, you started like Michael laughs all the time. It's like cut, no cut. I said cut.
I love that. I love that. That's cool. That's really cool. Okay, we go to our next one. This is from Scott. Scott says, I think he's got a bit here. When do the questions for the when you do the questions for Little House on the Prairie, will you please ask Charlotte if there are any pictures or videos of the inside sets in the sound studio? Do you know of any?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
He wants to know if there's any pictures or videos that show inside the sets,
Oh,
inside the
I'm sure
studio.
there are, but I don't know. I don't know where that would be. I would go online and look that up to see, because we shot at Paramount, and there was a stage where we shot that had the interior of the school, the interior of the Ingalls house, the interior of the store. So that's where we shot on stage. And when we were outside, we were out in Simi Valley. So, and that's where they're going to have the big celebration next year in March. The March 22nd, 23rd, 24th is the 50th anniversary of Little House, and it's out in Simi Valley on the location where we shot. So
Wow.
it's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a clip from Dean Butler where he talks about it, and he's on that hillside.
Yeah.
And it you know right away. I mean, as soon as you see it, you're like, you can picture the girls running down, you can picture the whole thing. It's just
down
crazy.
the hill. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Okay, so well, I'm curious, as far as the sets at the studio, were they set up, the classroom was right next to, the next set next to the was it like that, or was there any kind of separation?
Yeah, no, they had like three walls, and the one wall was, was not there so the camera could come in, but then they would switch it around the other way. Interior sets on the sound stages, they're real easy to work because they can light much better than outside.
Did you have a preference, by the way, shooting on the sound stage versus out in Simi?
Well, I did prefer being on the sound stage because out in Simi it was so hot. It was 108 degrees, and I'm wearing 3 wool skirts and a bonnet, and it was very, very hot. In fact, one day we were doing an episode where there was a baseball game, and they had these bleachers set up, and we were watching the game, and it was so hot. And Michael finally said, "Okay, let's take a break. Everybody go get in the shade and all." And they looked back and they said, "Why is Charlotte still sitting there?" I was completely unconscious. I had passed out, sitting there on the bench with my heavy clothes on.
Oh, wow.
I passed out from the sunstroke.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
It was really hot. Yeah.
Did they have to get like a paramedic or anything to wake you up? Or
well, we have somebody on set, but no, they just went over and cold things and got me out of the sun. But
wow.
no, I had just completely passed out sitting there. Stoic Miss Beadle was. She was not going to let it get to her.
She wasn't going to leave. She was not.
No.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Okay, here's another one. This is taking it in a different direction. This is an interesting question. So I don't know if you have an answer for this. This is Lyndon. He said, what I'd most like to know is whether Charlotte ever met Patricia Kennelly, the fantasy writer who claims to have married Jim Morrison in a pagan ceremony during which both drank each other's blood. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know any. I've heard so many stories about, Jim, who was a friend of mine.
Definitely.
No, I think that's bullshit. He died in Paris with his wife. His wife's name was Pam. So maybe they were working, they worked that around somehow to make it sound like it. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
He was, everybody thinks he was weird, and he wasn't. He was, he was so brilliant. He was so smart. He was articulate. He was funny. No, I think those stories were just made up.
I got you.
I was very sad when I heard that he had passed, because I had just been with him. We had gone on a trip. He wanted to get out of town, and we had gone on a trip up the coast of California. And that was we were gone for 4 days. And that was the last time I saw him. He went back to Paris, and that's where he died, unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember in the first interview when you were describing that that drive and that experience and stuff. Was he one of the questions actually that it's so funny how these are overlapping at times. somebody actually asked, well, we'll come to it, but they asked what Jim was like, you know, when he wasn't like on stage. What was he really like?
He was very quiet. He was very funny. He didn't talk a lot. He was, I think the reason he needed to get out of town, he was being hounded by the press because he was he was going back to be on trial for, you know, indecent exposure.
In Florida, I think it was, wasn't it?
He was an alcoholic. He had quite a drinking problem. And that came out on a stage one time, and he, you know, was awful. But I don't know. I thought he was brilliant. He was so intelligent. He was so talented. But unfortunately, he was also an addict.
Yeah.
And it killed him.
Well, thank you for answering that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Deb. Deb says, I loved Little Girl Lost when Carrie falls down the mine shaft.
Oh,
Which, by the way, I don't know why, but it's funny to introduce it like that.
I know. That's an episode where Michael says Miss Beadle kills the kids again. You know, I don't know why I'm blamed for Carrie falling down the well, but there was another episode where I send all the children home early because there's a snowstorm, and then
blizzard.
They get lost, and you know, parents die trying to find their children. So
yeah. We have that one coming up, by the way.
Oh,
but she wanted to know what you recall about your emotions during the episode of Little Girl Lost, and did you get to know Dabs Greer?
Oh, of course I got to know Dabs Greer. We were on the set together so many times, even though we didn't have a lot of scenes together. But oh yeah, you know, you have a lot of downtime I love Dabs. He was just such a wonderful person and funny, and he loved praying the preacher, you know. But he had a real good time. I don't know. That was a hard episode. I remember that's one where we're in the schoolroom. You know, the parents are all lamenting that the kids got out of there too early and got lost in the storm. And Willie, Miss Beadle is, you know, I've got my head down on the desk trying to get myself together, and Willie comes over and he goes, Miss Beadle, it'll be okay. I went, oh my God. I didn't know he was going to do that, but it's very moving in the scene that Willie, who's my rascal in the schoolroom, I'm always sending him to the corner, comes over and it's okay, Miss Beadle. Oh, it was very sweet.
Yeah, that's a really memorable episode. I remember that. Yeah, that's
horrible.
Wild.
Just horrible for the parents. Yeah.
So was Dabs in essence then very different from who he played?
Oh, you know, Dabs says he's been in every movie you can ever name. You know, I mean, I respected him so much because of his history as an actor. He had a great sense of humor. You know, he wasn't like a preacher at all. But I think Michael loved to bring in, you know, the actors, these traditional actors from Hollywood, you know, who had done 100 roles, and, you know, bring him into Little House. And, you know, he loved to have that part, you know, to include them in our part. Yeah.
And I mean, I always love that name, by the way. I mean, come
Dabs Greer.
Dabs Greer. I mean,
and you know, Dabs always let fans know his phone number. He would answer his phone. He would talk to fans at any time. He always made himself available.
Wow.
Yeah. And so did Katherine Colson, Mrs. Oleson.
Really?
She did too. Yeah. Yep. She had a small little house up in the Hollywood Hills, opposite the Buddhist Center. She was a devout Buddhist.
Oh my gosh.
The Zen Center. Yeah. Yeah. They were available to fans all the time.
Oh, is that special? I mean, you never hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
They were
okay. We're going to go. I love this. The person's name is Charlotte.
Oh.
Oh, well, here we go. We have the same name, and I love that. There was an episode where you taught about the Civil War, and it caused commotion amongst everyone. Was that a hard scene for you, as your character's father was in the war?
I don't remember. I really don't remember. But I'll tell you another fact about my time as the teacher there. When I
Yeah.
came into the set for the first time, they had blackboards and they were movable. So, for different episodes, they could move them around.
Yeah.
And had 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. And I said, I'm teaching a class that's from, 7 years old to 15, and they wouldn't have this on the board. It would have different lessons. So I came in on my own time and I filled 6 blackboards full of lessons, history, geography, arithmetic, all kinds of, literature. And they could move them around on different episodes. And it was, if you see the show, that's all my handwriting. It wasn't the prop guy. It was all mine. I filled all the blackboards.
Oh,
So
that's really cool.
I thought it would be, more authentic if they had different lessons up, because I had, all those different age kids, which was real easy for me because my sister had 7 children, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, so I was used to being in a room full of kids of all ages, from tiny babies to teenagers. So I was very comfortable.
Wow, you really, I mean, I remember in our first interview how you took over the room at the audition and basically said, sit down or whatever. And then you go onto
I
the
said,
set.
quiet.
Right.
Oh, that was so funny. Yeah. Should I tell the story again?
Oh, why not? I don't think
Why
anyone
not?
from Little House will be upset about that.
It's just,
Please.
no, they wouldn't. I was auditioning for the part of a teacher, but I didn't know what it was for. I didn't know Michael Landon was in it, and I'd never heard of Little House on the Prairie.
Oh,
So when
geez.
they called me in, they said it was a room full. It was all the producers, a casting director, and a big room full of men, all in chairs all around the room. And they said, "Are you ready to read?" And the only thing I knew is it was a part of a teacher. So I said to the producer, who was behind the biggest desk, "May I sit at your desk?" They just, everybody looked at each other like, "Oh, okay." So he got up and moved, and they're all kind of going, "Get her." I said, "Quiet." And I got the part.
I mean, seriously, I would have paid money to be able to see the faces in
I'm
that
sure that's
room.
what got me the part, because I told this room full of executives to shut up.
Oh, oh my gosh. I mean, that as an actor, that is one of the ballsiest moves I have ever
I
heard
don't
in
know
my
why
life.
I did it. I have no idea. I just instinctively, if you want me to be in control, let me be in control.
It's just a great statement too, because especially at that time to have a room full of just men, it just was perfect. Just that's it. Sit
And
down.
little Charlotte in there.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, okay, fair enough then. If you don't remember the Civil War one, that's okay.
I
Yeah,
don't.
it doesn't. It shows you though, you did a
You
great
know,
job.
I did 15 shows a season, so that's 60 shows, 60 episodes.
Yeah.
And
It,
I watch some sometimes, and I don't remember it at all.
mhm.
I'll look and I'll go, wow, I don't remember. I watched one the other day. No clue.
Yeah.
Absolutely no clue. Just
I think that's honest. I think that's totally honest. I think that's great. But I do think it's fascinating how much you encompass the role. There's certain people that certainly you say, yeah, you're an actor and you're playing the role, but the fact that you took it over in the audition, the fact that you went and noticed the blackboards and then you took on your own time to go and do all the lessons that the teacher might have had from that time. I mean, that is just really impressive. That's like very like
I'm
almost like a method actor, you know what I mean?
well,
Just that's
I don't know
awesome.
if I would call myself a method actor, because I sincerely respect actors that have that in their
Sure.
background, but I just wanted it to be mine.
Hmm.
What I mean, it was my schoolroom, so it should be in my handwriting. And I don't, that's what I thought. And they just went right along with it. Prop guy came up, do what you want,
Yeah.
fill all those
I
blackboards.
I think that's really impressive. That's so cool. Okay. So we go to our next one here. This is Corbin.
Hi, Court.
Miss Beadle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hi, Corbin. Miss Beadle had a buckboard accident. Were you ever injured on the show?
No, no, that wasn't me. That was my stunt double, Patty Elder. She looked just like me. In fact, somewhere I've got a picture of us sitting side by side. That was Patty. She also doubled any woman that was on the show that had to be in a, like I think she doubled Alison, Nellie, when Nellie, went down the river in a boat or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Patty was great. Everybody thought it was me and it wasn't. She took the dive right into the ground and yeah.
Did she ever get hurt? Did you know?
Oh, I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did. She took so many falls, accidents and stuff. But that's what she did. I mean, she was, of course, under all those skirts and stuff. She had knee pads and elbow pads, and
Right.
she was protected. But yeah, she was great.
Would they shoot you on the buckboard, right up to the moment of?
Yeah. But I wasn't. There was no horse there, and it was just kind of moving or something. And then I would get off and Patty would get on and they'd shoot her from behind. Even from the side, she looked like me.
Wow.
She had the same wig and bonnet and everything.
So when they would do those shots like that, there wasn't even a horse.
No.
Wow.
No.
Huh. Okay. That's a
they're
first.
so clever,
Yeah. I have to admit, I thought there was a horse. I bought it 100%. That's
Well, it
interesting.
wasn't another shot because you see her fly out of the carriage and there's a horse there because you see her hit the ground. But no, that wasn't me.
Okay. But even when you were in the scene, there was no horse in front of you.
They're not going to take a chance of some horse taking off and Charlotte goes flying off into the,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
She
cool
gets-
though. That's
she
really
gets
cool to
paid
know.
get hurt,
You don't get paid to get hurt, is that what you said? Okay, here's our next one. This is Thad. Thad says, was it difficult at times to play the stern teacher? And did the kids on the show ever make you crack up while you were trying to do your scene?
I'm sure they did. I don't remember that. Alison was always so funny. I hope you interview her.
I've interviewed her multiple times.
Oh,
She is
good. Yeah, so you know
exceptional.
what a wacko.
Exceptional.
She's just out of this world. What was the question again?
Was it difficult at times playing a stern teacher? And did the kids ever on the show make you crack up while you were actually trying to be that?
Oh, I'm sure they did. Michael used to crack everybody up. He just had such a great sense of humor, and he knew exactly what he was going to use and what he wasn't going to use. So sometimes he would just have fun with us, knowing it would be cut out. Not a problem. I loved working on that show. It was fun. The actors were just outstanding. I didn't know a lot about children acting, but I had great respect for them, the ones that I worked with. Especially, I've never known a child who had such concentration as Melissa Gilbert. Melissa would just look at me, and you would look at that face, and she just was so deeply, and I don't know how she did it because she was so young when we started. What was she, 7, 8 years old?
Right.
The reason everybody loves Miss Beadle is because Laura loved Miss Beadle, and she sent that image in the shows. She would just look at me with, like I was the best thing she ever saw. Yeah.
You're all right though. I mean, yeah, it's true. Melissa Gilbert she was a natural.
Yeah. For being that young too.
Right.
She had a real, understanding.
Oh yeah. So when Michael Landon would make everyone crack up, would you say it helped the scene or help the overall energy of the show, or would it take you out of it?
Yeah, sometimes if there was a lot of tension or something, I'll tell you one thing. There was an episode that was a snowstorm when I think you mentioned it earlier, when a lot of the parents, a lot of the men got lost in the snowstorm. I had sent the kids home early.
Blizzard.
So for part of that, it was an outside shot. There was a stage at Paramount that was called the water set. It's where they used to have all the pirate ships and everything, and they could fill it with water. So Michael had it filled with snow. So he could do these exteriors within a set. And our script lady, whose name was Charlotte, had her her script was getting wet. And she was sitting right in front of me. We were watching the shoot, and I was behind her, and she was sitting there, and her script got wet, and she was like shaking the pages and trying to get them dry. And Michael comes up behind her. He's got a cigarette lighter, and he sets the page on fire while she's flailing around to get this, ah!
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
Because we were
Seriously.
freezing cold. It was so cold in the set. A lot of the snow was artificial, but they had to keep it cold too to make it real. But yeah, he played.
Oh wow,
he played jokes on us all the time.
that's really interesting. So a lot of times they used to like make it like fake snow or whatever, but you're telling me that snow, they had actually kept it cold in the room, and the snow was like cold?
Yeah, it was cold because otherwise it would just, I don't know. I don't know why, but they used real ice snow that they brought. I don't know how they did that, but it was cold. It was definitely.
That is really impressive. That
Yeah.
it sounds like they use that technology of like a ski hill does. They blow snow, they create snow.
Yeah,
It sounds like he actually did it.
he probably did it. Yeah, he probably did it because it was cold. And I wasn't
Amazing.
even working in that atmosphere. I just went to watch because it was on the water stage, and I'd never seen that before. So I was just sitting there watching the whole, watching him shoot.
Oh, that's really cool. I would have loved to have been on that set. Okay, very neat. So let's go to the next one. Let's see here. Susan, how much say did you have in the character of Miss Beadle? I guess it goes along with what you said, but I guess in general, how much say did you have in?
Well, like I say, because my sister had 7 children and my brother had 3, I was used to being around a lot of kids a lot of the time. So I was very comfortable. There were, well, like I said, when I changed the stuff on the blackboard,
Sure.
they went right along with me, that I said that. Other than that, Michael wrote it pretty, you didn't have to change very much. It wasn't complicated. It was pretty true to the books. So I didn't need a lot of say in it, but I felt like I was kind of playing my sister, who was always calm in the disaster that was happening around her. She was, she'd be nursing one kid and the other one would be falling down the stairs, and she'd say, it's okay, you'll be fine, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I played my sister basically.
Oh, very cool. Okay. All right. This is from Martha. In the episode The Wisdom of Solomon with Spotted Eagle, did you draw on any personal experience where you saw prejudice in your own life?
No, gosh, I'll tell you, when I was growing up, I grew up on a farm in Northern California, and I think if I saw any prejudice around, it was directed toward the Hispanic community. Like they were somehow inferior. That's the only thing that only prejudice that I witnessed in my own life. But no, other than that, no, I didn't have that experience.
Okay, cool. Lindsay, did you have anything to do with the casting? Oh no, that's the one. That's our last question. It was the Joshua Bryant question, but that's right. We hit that early. Here we go. This is Teresa. Were you personally upset to leave Walnut Grove after you gave birth to Luke?
No, because I knew it was coming. They had told me ahead of time that I would be leaving the show after 4 years. So we're working up to it. And the last scene was very sad. My last day of work is when I give the brooch to Mary in the store, and that was really, it was really sad for me because I knew it was the last scene I would be in. And so Mary's there, and then Mr. Miss Oleson or whatever, and I give her the brooch, and and then the scene is over and everybody moves on to the next shot, and I'm going, but there's no party.
Yeah.
There's no going away party. Miss Beadle is over. That's just the way it is. It's the way it is.
Yeah, that must have been a weird walk back to like your trailer or whatever and be like, that was it.
Oh, we didn't have trailers.
What? There was no
we
trailers?
didn't have trailers. No, we had there was a dressing room that we shared, the women especially. And Michael Landon didn't have his own trailer. He shared one with Victor French, who played, Mr. Forget what he played. But no, there were no special things like that around. No.
Oh my gosh, is that funny? I'm actually glad you said that because I always assumed you're in Simi. It's 108. They're gonna have like trailers for each actor out there, and
There were places where we could go and stay cool. And there was a trailer that we could go in and get, iced tea and stuff like that. But no, we didn't have our own trailers.
you know, it's actually kind of nice to hear because it's Little House is such a wholesome show or whatever, and then I think of like the lack of like I don't know star attitude or whatever. That says
Michael
a lot.
didn't even, yeah, Michael didn't even have his own trailer. He shared one. So
Yeah, I mean that's pretty wild. So all of the female actresses shared one trailer and pretty much
well,
all the male.
yeah, we would get there and get, they staggered our arrivals and stuff. So no, we were all treated equally, everybody, from the
Wow.
children to Michael to, Karen Grassley, maybe Karen had her own, I don't remember, but
That kind of makes you a little bit closer to everybody
oh
though
yeah,
too.
this was a family. We really felt like we were, and I used to travel with Catherine Colson, Mrs. Olson.
Yeah,
We used
yeah.
to go to spas together, go down to San Diego and spend a weekend at a spa or something. We were friends often. I know,
I love it.
Mrs. Olson.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. I wouldn't have put that together. I mean, I think it's kind of neat. It's
Yeah, we
like,
had a good time.
okay, fantastic. All right, here we go. Here's Holly. In School
Okay.
Mom, did you feel like a real teacher? It is so touching to me. And oh, and by the way, it says, please come to Germany.
Okay.
So there you
Give me a
go.
ticket. I'll come. Um, did I feel like a real teacher? Yeah, I did. It was, pretty easy to understand. Like I say, I played my sister with the 7 kids, so that it was real easy to do that, and it was written well, and because I filled all the blackboards, that was my school, so
Was
yeah,
that a special episode to you, School Mom?
the school. Oh,
I guess
that's
that's the name of the
right.
episode.
I think that's when I got injured and Karen Ma came in and was the school teacher for a day or a week or something. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is from this is from Sam. Actually, it's a good question, I guess. Why do you think nothing ever came of your courtship with John Stacy?
John Stacy,
I
was that
think it
the
was
actor that I was kissing?
yeah, I think it was like a quick I think it was like a quick moment and
It
we
was
never really saw
one
that.
shot. It was one
Yeah.
shot, and I never saw him again.
Right.
Yeah, because they wanted to show Mary that Miss Beadle was getting kissed by a handsome man, and she was wearing her glasses because Mary didn't want to wear her glasses. So that
Oh.
was the whole reason for that. I don't even remember his name. Is that his name?
I think that was the well, I don't know. That's the question sent in. I think this is the character's name.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that was all there was.
Oh, so it was just to show that moment and then they got rid of the character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he never
Okay.
came back.
It was probably because you kissed that they were wondering like why nothing ever went on from that, but
I know, no.
okay. Interesting. All right, Tabitha. You kind of said this. I think you got this already, but where was the episode Blizzard filmed? And do you remember anything about shooting it? Which you do. It's my favorite episode. We Love You in Montana.
Oh, great. It was filmed in Simi Valley, and it was, all of the heavy snow scenes were done on a stage where they could do the ice, the snow and control it. They couldn't do that out in Simi Valley. It doesn't snow in Los Angeles.
Right, right.
So they had to create it on a soundstage. Yeah, that was all done on a soundstage.
Wow, that's wild. By the way, was that shot over multiple days? Do you know?
Oh, I'm sure it was. Most episodes take 6 days, and I'm sure we had at least 3 in the schoolroom where everybody was waiting to find out if the children were alive. And rescued and all of that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's about
Great.
half and half. Every episode was about half and half,
Okay.
on the stage and out in Simi Valley.
Okay. Wonderful. And I see Michael over there.
Hey,
Yeah.
Michael.
Hey,
Yeah.
Michael.
Hey.
Michael, say hello to John. Well, you met him last
Yeah,
week.
we met.
Hi, John. How are
Good to
you?
see you again. Doing
Good.
well. Doing well.
I hope this has been fruitful.
It always is fruitful talking
Yeah.
to Charlotte. You
Yeah.
kidding me? I learned things. I was like, I had no idea about that.
Trust me, John. I still learn new things too. This one's just been there and done that.
Thank you.
That's for sure. Oh my gosh.
But you guys have a fun time. I'll see you in a bit. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Nice to see you, Michael.
Nice to see you too, John.
Okay, so let's see here. We've got Tim. Were you and Alison close when you filmed the show? What was she like off set?
We weren't close because she was a child and I was an adult. We didn't really, mix that much. It was about, I don't know, 8 years later, after I was off the show, when the cast started doing events all over, meeting fans and stuff. And she was the one that introduced me to fan events, because I didn't even know what it was.
Wow.
I'd never been on a show that had that kind of a following before. So now, I mean, Alison is one of my best friends, and also the other actor that I travel with and we always stay together is baby Grace, Wendi Lou Lee.
Yes.
She's my travel partner, So, but that, we're all adults now. So, but then I was in my 30s, they were teenagers or younger. So we didn't travel or, that we didn't have that kind of friendship. We learned that as adults.
Well, do you remember her what she was like just running around as a kid when she was?
She was absolutely crazy. Alison was just outrageous even then. She one thing that a lot of people don't understand is, as a child actor, she loved being the bad one. She just loved it.
Wow.
Nellie was so mean and she just loved playing that. Yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome.
That's why she was so good.
Yeah, I mean, she was really good. She, I always say when she was in a scene, she took the scene.
Oh God, yes. Oh yeah. And from a little girl, I mean, she was pretty little when they started.
Yeah.
I look back at pictures of her in, back in the early 70s. She was a little girl. She knew what to do.
Yeah, she really did. She really honestly did. No, she's been on multiple times, and I'm telling you, I mean, she's one of my very favorites. She has an energy that I don't think I've met anyone that has touched it.
Go on the road with her. Oh my God. We've been in Europe together twice. We've been in France. We've been on a train ride down to the south of France. Oh, she speaks fluent French, of course, you know that.
Right.
So
yeah, she does in fact, she does her play over there, I think, every year in French.
That's where she is now. She's in France doing her stand-up comedy routine in French.
Wow. She's something else. She really is. You mentioned Wendi Lou Lee too. Sweetheart.
Yeah. And so spiritual. I mean, it just emanates from her. I've been with her a couple of times. They always ask her to speak at the church wherever we are.
Right.
And I was just, wow, that's pretty amazing. And she always just leaves you feeling so good. That's why I love traveling with her,
Okay, here we go. Let's go to our next one. This is Simon. What is the biggest thing you have taken away or learned from playing Miss Beadle?
Oh, patience. I aside from my own family, my sister's family, I have no children of my own, but I feel like all of my sister's children were mine. I think patience and working with so many fabulous professional actors. I mean, we had so many guest stars on our show that I would just Patricia Neal, and I would just, even if I wasn't in the episode, I would come by and just watch, because they had such history and such grace and authority. And I just watched them work, even though I had already been working for, 15 years when I was doing the show. There was so much to learn, and so much to learn by watching the different directors that we had. And I loved watching Victor French direct. Oh, he was so good. He was such a good director. So
Was Victor French, a lot of times an actor from the show, it's like, okay, in order to stay on the show, you need to let me direct an episode or whatever. What was he like as a director? Because, sometimes having an actor that you've acted with now directing you, it can be awkward. What was it like for him?
No, he loved it. He loved it. And he had such an understanding of each of our characters. There was the episode where Miss Beadle gets fired, and there's a scene where Paul comes to her boarding house. It's the only time you ever got to see where Miss Beadle lived. Comes to her boarding house and to tell her that yes, they've fired her, and and Victor was directing that episode. And so before we started the scene, Victor pulled me aside and he said, "Don't let Pa see you upset." That's the only direction he gave me. And it worked because I had to stay strong and hold it together and not give in. And it gave the scene a, punch there. So, and I don't know what I would have done if he hadn't told me. I would have maybe got, oh, or something. But he said, no, be stoic. So
it fit your character perfect, by the way.
Well, that's what that's why he was such a good director. He knew that.
Yeah. The by the way, you just mentioned about where Miss Beadle lived. I think you might be right. My brain was like trying to flip through, like,
you never saw it ever.
I don't think so. Yeah.
No, and I don't even know where that room was. It wasn't over the Oleson store. Was it over the mill? Was it? we never saw a boarding house or anything.
You're right. Yeah, I know. As you think, like, you picture yourself going through the time. That is so interesting. Wow, that's a wild little fact. Yeah. So they must have built it just for that moment, and that was the end of it.
It was all it was a set on stage.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's kind of cool. Okay. Dee Dee says, when you were on the set and coming to the set, did it look real?
Okay, yes. The set, the exterior of Walnut Grove, the town, was out in Simi Valley. And I would drive out there. It was quite a ways from where I lived in Hollywood. Drive out there, park your car, then a studio car would pick you up at the parking lot and drive you up over the hills and to the dressing rooms. So there were dressing rooms, the wardrobe, the makeup trailer, all of the sets. And then from there, you had to walk over another hill into the town of Walnut Grove.
Oh my gosh.
And I used to love, once I got into costume, everything was done and it was time for me to go to work, was to walk over the hill, and there was Simi Valley. And you'd see the Olesons, you'd see the bridge there's the mill and the bridge, and there's the Oleson store, and in the distance would be the church school. And, so it was like being there. I was in Walnut Grove when I would go to work. And I just loved that. It was just so, I had my boots on. By the way, I wore my own boots because I was, when I got the part of Miss Beadle, I was a hippie. In fact, I had shown up for my audition in a tie-dye shirt and jeans. And I always used to wear boots, lace-up boots. So they were period. They were correct for the period of the 1890s, 1800s. So I'd be wearing my boots and my costume, and I'd go over. There was Walnut Grove.
Wow. That sounds so amazing. I mean, I could really visualize that. Yeah. That's neat. What a way to go to work. I mean, seriously, what a way to go to work.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Here, Jennifer, have you ever read the Little House on the Prairie books? And if so, did you like them?
I had, I have read them now, but when I got the part, I had never heard of Little House on the Prairie. I didn't know there were books. I thought it was, if anything, a book. In fact, after I got the part, I was at a swap meet out where I lived in the hills, and I saw, oh, there's Little House on the Prairie. I picked up the book and I thought, this is the book. Open it up. And Mary goes blind and the dog dies. I thought, what have I gotten myself into? Then I found out I think there's 9 books. I don't know. I have the whole set now, of course.
Oh,
but yeah.
Did you enjoy reading them?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was wonderful.
Very cool. This is from Steve. We don't often hear a lot about Melissa Sue Anderson. What did you say? What is your take?
She's very private. Melissa Sue Anderson lives on the East Coast. She's married with children, loves it, but she's extremely shy and she doesn't enjoy doing crowd, the fan events. So, we respect her privacy. Melissa Gilbert's much the same way. I mean, she'll do some, but not often. She just prefers her life, the way it is. And, me, I love it. I can't wait to get there and meet the fans. And oh, you like me? You really, really like me?
You're well, you're such an introvert. It's just so hard to talk to you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I love going to the fan events. They're all over. I'm heading to Illinois with Lucy Lee, and we'll be meeting fans there. And then we've got oh, Jan, come on in. I'm on a Zoom. It's my landlady bringing me my mail.
Okay.
What's that?
I'm bringing
Oh,
you-
that's potato salad. She's bringing me potato salad.
Well, they mail potato salad now up there.
Okay. Thank you, sweetheart. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Am I supposed to take it out of there and put it in something?
No, this is how you eat it.
Oh
Don't we
my
put it in
God.
the kitchen for
No,
you?
it's okay.
It's heavy.
Look what I just got.
Oh wow.
I got it
Wow,
down
that
here.
is huge. By the way, that looks enormous.
I'm on
It is
an
enormous.
interview here. That's
Wow. So well, I love those moments. I mean, it's real life,
It's live. She's
So
my landlady.
she sounded very nice. So do oh, she's right there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm leaving.
Thank you, Jen. Thank
You
you. God
betcha.
bless
You
you.
betcha.
by the way, Melissa Sue Anderson and Melissa Gilbert, were they did they hang together? Do you know when you'd see them as kids?
I don't think so. Like I say, I think Melissa Sue Anderson was extremely private person and shy, and Melissa Gilbert was, half pint. She was, very outgoing.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I mean, I wish I got to know them both better. I see them occasionally, and I'm always greeted very warmly, and I'm so glad to see them. But it must have been kind of overwhelming to be in a role like that at the time that was so wildly popular, and to try to be themselves any place else,
Right.
out in the world. I think they got deluged with fans and people. So
Yeah, they were so identifiable with
Yeah.
Little House.
yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, on a whole, that's the end of the questions, by the way. But I
Oh,
want
good.
to talk a little bit about and I would like to see some, by the way, if you still have them. Just so everybody knows the context. Charlotte reached out to me just prior to the interview, and she was saying, "You know what? I'm actually working on my Beadle bags right now," and so the timing was perfect. Just so you know, this wasn't like planned or anything like that. But I know she's got a few there. Can you show them? Because I had a lot of
I've got
people
one
ask
right
last.
here that I just finished. I don't know if you can see.
Oh yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. No, that's a great one.
This is one of Miss Beadle and Nellie.
Yeah.
When Miss Beadle marries the pig farmer and Nellie elopes with his son. But they're Beadle bags, and I'll show you. I've got a couple others.
That's a great one, by the way. That's a great
I
little
love that
moment
one.
there. That
And
you
this
look
is
on
one
your-
of my favorites. This is Miss Beadle with
Ah.
teaching Laura how to read. But I make them, they're cotton, they're washable, they're lined. Got big lining here.
Oh, you actually line them too.
Oh,
Wow.
of course. Oh,
What is
yeah.
it? Wait, Charlotte. What's on the inside there? You look like you actually personalized. It looked like it a
Oh,
little.
I
tag
do.
on it.
That's a label.
Oh, that's cool.
That's my label. My husband designed those, and they're permanent. They're iron-on permanent. So you
Wow.
always have my email.
I'm biased, by the way. I like that second one you showed. The colors and everything were just
Look at
phenomenal.
this
Although
one.
that's pretty
This
exceptional
one,
too, by the way.
a fan sent me this picture. It's a painting.
Oh my gosh, it
actually.
looked like a photo when you first
I know
brought it up.
it's actually a painting of
That's
Miss Beadle.
exceptional.
Isn't that amazing?
It
So
is.
I made
That
into
really
the
is.
bag. What's the last one?
Yeah, sure.
My last one. Oh, this is one of Mike.
Oh, look at the colors you used and stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I used a manly print for Michael.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Charlotte, how long does it take you to make a bag?
When I'm in the mood, I make 2 a day.
Okay.
That's about I'm working on 4 of them right now, but I've got a show coming up and I need stock. So I've got to work every day because I make them all myself from scratch. I print the pictures on fabric and I put the fabric around it. So, but I've got a bunch of shows coming up and some of them are only a week apart. So if I sell them all at one, then I've got to come home and,
I mean, those are quality. Those are really nice.
Thank
This
you.
happened on the first interview. I had people reaching out saying, thanks for showing me the Beadle bags, but now how do I get them? So let's make sure we get that out. Tell people where they can write to you so they can get their Beadle bag.
Okay, I'm going to give you my email and I answer all my emails. So I'm going to say it and then I'll spell it. It's lottiebanks@yahoo.com. Lottie is the last part of Charlotte and Banks was my previous married name. So LOTTEBANKS@yahoo.com. Just write
Fantastic.
to me and I'll answer you right back and give you all the information. And then I usually send out an invoice on PayPal. So it's real easy to use a credit card to pay for them.
Really nice. Really
Yeah.
nice. I mean, look, we can always say like, oh, somebody's pitching their products or whatever. What I like about it is it's very personal. You put you make it from scratch. It's very much you.
Yeah.
And I've seen them, by the way, just so everybody knows out there. I've actually seen the bags in person. They are really nice. So
Yeah,
anyway, if
they're
you're a
good. And
fan,
they last a long time. I have fans that bring them to events and say, I bought this from you in 2016.
Mhm.
And they're still throw them in the washing machine. They're practical. They last a long time. And
Oh.
it gives me something, I'm retired now. I don't act anymore.
Mhm.
And it gives me something to do every day. And I work every day. So
Well, I love it. I
I'm
love it.
82 years old and I have a new career as a, Beadle bag maker.
You have the energy of somebody at least half your age. I'm telling you.
I
I
hope
mean,
so.
you do. You just have incredible energy. We talk about Alison, but you really do too. You just
Yeah.
come alive. I just think
Thank
it's
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
So, yeah. Well, Charlotte, I really appreciate the time and I appreciate you coming back on the show and answering the questions. And it's just been really, really nice to have you on.
Yeah, well, it's always good to see you, and it was a nice surprise to see you in person recently. So,
Yeah.
Let's stay in touch, okay?
Oh, without a doubt, Charlotte, we will. I enjoyed talking with you. I enjoyed meeting with you, and you have a wonderful husband too, and just a great just great energy. But yeah, hopefully I do see you soon. But thanks again, and I hope that the upcoming shows go fantastic for you.
Yeah, they will.
All right. Thank you so much. As always, thanks for listening, and please hit the subscription button and the notification bell so that you can be notified when I have a new episode. And also go check out some of my other episodes, like Jerry Mathers, Henry Winkler, Judy Norton, so many. Enjoy.